We want to be a partner of choice. We want to demonstrate to your nation and other nations of the region that we are a partner who can be trusted, who can be reliable, and historically we have been. I think you've seen a lot of Australian development assistance. We want to work with you on your priorities. We want to work together as part of the Pacific family. Obviously, we've expressed our concerns publicly about the security agreement between Solomon Islands and China. And the reason we have is we think there are, as do other Pacific nations, we think there are consequences. We think that it's important that the security of the region be determined by the region. And historically that has been the case, and we think that's a good thing.
And India is experiencing heat waves. This year, record temperatures come amid soaring inflation and rising prices. And the hot weather is already hurting farmers.
Because of the heat wave, our crops have suffered. Due to the sudden rise in temperature, the water table has dropped. The great heat has decimated our crop yield by half.
That is why New Delhi has banned wheat exports. It wants to put India's own food security first, amid frequent supply chain disruptions and rising food prices. But the government has stopped short of an outright ban. India plans to honor shipment agreements inked before the ban. And they will continue to export to food deficit countries, including Egypt and Bangladesh. But that doesn't supply much relief for major wheat importers. On Monday, wheat prices soared to a record high following the Indian government's announcement.
Now put yourself in a position where, in a low-income country or lower middle-income country, where you were, let's say, spending 50% of your income or more on food, and suddenly your food got more expensive. This is what we are seeing in many parts of the world as we speak.
And while neighboring countries like Bangladesh and Sri Lanka can continue to count on India for now, the question for their governments and others across the world is how they can feed their populations if food prices continue to rise.
Nehal Jory is our correspondent in Delhi. Nehal, good to see you. Take us behind this U-turn. India was supposed to make its debut as a major wheat exporter. What happened?
Well, India has been on an upward trend when it comes to wheat exports. For instance, last year they were able to export 3 times the amount that they did the last year. So there was a lot of confidence around that, and the projections were that this year it would be even larger exports. And so India was looking to expand its market. But that didn't quite happen because of India's immense heat wave this year. So March this year was one of the hottest, and this was a sudden spike in temperature, not a gradual increase. So it destroyed a lot of crops across India, especially in states which are major wheat producers. And so some of the farmers we've spoken to have lost half of their yield. And what's also happened as a result of that is that farmers are selling their wheat to private traders who've been able to offer a better price than the government. And so at the beginning of May, the government realized that they had 30% less than what they expected by this time.
So under this ban, where does all that wheat go now? Does it stay in the domestic market?
It does. Some of it goes as well to neighboring countries like Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, which India has been supplying for years and will continue to honor that because these contracts had already been signed. But domestically, wheat is a staple food, so most households you eat it and cook it every day, and most of the production is going there. Apart from that, India also has famine reserves, which it keeps for disasters. And a lot of these famine reserves had run dry because grains were used and distributed as COVID relief packages. And so that is a deficit that India needs to refill as well.